Welcome in, everyone, to the next meeting of the Vintage Anime Club podcast, where we just pour one out for all our forgotten friends like AD Vision, Bandai Entertainment, Animego,
Pioneer
/ Genion, whatever whatever their
Anime
names
Village.
Coming Anime Village.
Central Park Media. CPM.
Manga Entertainment.
Animego.
What?
Well, is Animego still around? Kind of.
Maybe.
So,
What about, am I misremembering that US Vision was that one? Or am I completely misremembering that?
There's US Manga Corps, and there was
that one then.
Manga Entertainment,
Got
and
Was it the Anime Works?
God, Anime Works. Yeah, there was Anime Works, and then there was like the adult one.
Yeah.
Which was like Anime Playground or something. And they
Wow.
had like literally like they had the same opening sequence piece. Like it was like a rotating clock cog or something like that.
Yeah.
Except that the regular one was just like Anime Works, and then the other one was like straight up like a cat girl in a bikini, and it was like someone's getting fucked. It was pretty good.
Well, this is a podcast all about revisiting older anime titles, see how they hold up, and having a glass or three
Of wine.
as we talk about it in discussion. I am one of the hosts, Dennis. Joining me today, we have Diana.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm in cosplay hell. I'm getting ready for World Cosplay Summit. I'll be heading out to New Jersey in June. So in between, you know, the general stuff that we have to do around the house and just for life, I'm really heavily involved in sewing some costumes and building some sets and rehearsing with my partner, Allie.
So we're going to try to get you on as best as we can.
I appreciate it.
If you have to skip a session, that is completely understandable and fine. And you've also been trying to help fundraise the trip, right?
Yeah, well, so my partner and I recently got really sick, and she is in a situation where she doesn't get a lot of sick leave because we are a country that doesn't really give you sick leave or health insurance properly. So we're sort of trying to supplement our costs and just sort of take into account, you know, her lack of being able to work by fundraising and selling a couple things. Like we've made some goods with official Sailor Moon merchandise. We have some posters from Fate and just a couple of things around. So if you check out my Twitter, which is at Binksy, BINKXY, you can see some of the stuff that we have up for sale. And if you're interested in Sailor Moon, or you're interested in Fate Stay Night, or Fate Zero, or Fate Real Tenua, or Fate, you might see something that you like. And pretty much everything is between like $5 and $15, and it basically all goes to help like take care of the doctor visit that Allie had to have, and the time that we lost.
And you actually get something, unlike a GoFundMe or whatever.
Yeah, we will actually send it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is a physical item.
We also have on today Ed.
hello again.
Ed, I am so sorry for not having the correct microphone settings on our intro episode. Hoping that fans are okay with you sounding slightly horrible, unfortunately. And we have a little dog running around. It's okay, little buddy.
It happens.
Ed, how have you been?
Well, good. Not much new here. I've been catching up on some of the new shows since the new season has started.
Oh, yeah,
At
like
least
what?
at the time they're recording. Well, JoJo is out,
Yes.
of course, which everybody's excited about.
Oh, so excited.
And then, we were just talking about the new Trigger show, which is Kisnaiver. Very weird name, but could be promising. We'll see how that goes.
I don't think I'm ever going to get that name right until I start watching it and get to the halfway point.
You'll get it 27 episodes in.
Yeah, like, oh, that's how you say that word.
Yeah, it's one of those obtuse concepts as a name, so
All right.
I just had to get used to it.
Thanks for coming back on, Ed. Eve.
Yo.
Yeah, how have you been?
All right. Nothing exciting as everyone else is.
Nothing new? Not watching anything new?
Well, obviously JoJo, and Netflix just put Ajin up, so I'm watching that too.
Nice. Okay. See, something's new. Unfortunately, Kate is not with us right now. She is in glorious Japan.
She'll be home soon.
Yeah. Lucky.
She's coming home with whiskey.
Hell yeah.
So
Oh,
excited.
yeah.
I know that we drink wine in this podcast, but we also enjoy whiskey.
So excited.
It's going to be so
Hakushu
good.
highballs forever.
But we have our missing sixth host from last time, Sam.
Hi.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Dennis.
Is this your first? is this your first time doing podcast things? I know you've been in the room when we podcasted before, but have you been like microphone talking and stuff as a podcast thing before?
Not as a podcast thing before. I've been on a microphone here and there, but not actually on a in a podcast. So this is the first
Alright.
time.
Thank you for coming on and joining us. Since
Thank you for
we
having me.
didn't get you on last time, I'm going to go ahead and ask the same questions that we asked everybody in our intro episode. How did you get into this anime fandom thing?
Probably just from a love of cartoons originally. I mean, way back when I was in, kind of high school or even junior high. I used to run home to catch, any kind of basic kind of cartoons that are on. And then you started seeing things trickle in like Robotech and things like that. And so I would end up like really just rushing home to catch the next episode of Robotech and follow that as much as I could. Along with that, I kind of got into stuff like a lot of the classics. So just, Akira was a big deal when I was growing
Nice.
up. This is the North Star kept coming up. People kept just throwing that on over and over again. So watching that fairly often, and just a host of other ones of that kind of era. It wasn't just me, it was my kind of friends group was into it, so everybody
nice.
would bring something new into the group and watch it. But for me, mainly Akira stuck really well. This is the North Star stuck.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
then-
that's the main purpose that we're trying to like watch things like this as a group, is getting that whole like social aspect of watching anime and stuff that kind of missed. You know, like you can do it at a convention kind of, and I say kind of because it's like, dark room ish like an anime club, but I don't know, convention crowd is kind of rowdier than people that are around your type of age or come from similar background type thing. Whereas at a con, it's like the gamut of people who want to yell at everything at the screen versus I just want to enjoy anime and be quiet.
Oh, that is a time long gone.
Yep.
that went the dodo.
We're really dating ourselves with.
Yeah,
With
no,
this
I
conversation.
remember watching something and being completely fucking silent through it. And I remember like late night watching like porn and you scream at the at the screen because it's ridiculous. But yeah, no, I remember AX having like viewing rooms and stuff back in the day.
Sam, did you ever end up taking like a break, or did you manage to stay in a constant state of maintaining fandom of anime?
Oh, there was actually a large break, pretty much right after Champ Blue came out. So that was probably, 2001, 2002, or somewhere in that
Yeah,
area.
I want to say early 2000s.
Early 2000s. I just got caught up in games. I got caught up in a lot of other media and had moved, kind of from state to state. So I ended up just taking a pretty long break up until about 3 years ago.
Oh,
So when I came back in, I just ended up just jumping in right near kind of, I'd say the beginning of, Kill La Kill, getting back into, when they started up JoJo's again and started
Oh, yeah.
watching that, and just kind of revisiting the stuff I loved from before. A lot of the shows that, right before I stopped were very interesting, Evangelion and kind of Bebop. During that time I watched a lot of like the stuff like Trigun and just really kind of went back and started revisiting the stuff I loved and kind of figuring out why I really liked it in the first place.
Yeah.
nice. That's awesome. All right, so is there anything that you would say stands out? Like, can you name 3 titles that stand out to you? I know you mentioned Akira and stuff earlier. I'm assuming that's one of them.
Ones that have like an impact on me or kind of on people around me, definitely Ava. Either love it or hate it, people just always remember it, and that's good. Bebop was always one that just is a good example
nice.
of one that you don't really have to qualify as, it's this Japanese animation show. It's just a good story and a good show. So that was always great. And Ghost in the Shell is one thing that just the original one, it makes people think, and so which is kind of nice. It's not the deepest thing in the world, but it is one where people kind of it sticks with you a little bit afterwards, which is kind of nice.
14-year-old me thought it was pretty deep when I first watched it. I was like, what is this? And then I watched The Matrix. seeing those back, I was like, whoa, nothing's real, man. Everything. I'm not old enough to smoke weed yet.
But yeah, it's all the stuff. Nothing really niche or kind of weird. It's all the kind of more well-known stuff is the stuff I was really into coming into it.
Well, it's still like withstood the test of time, I feel, and all those series that Sam mentioned, I'm pretty sure we're going to get to that at some point in this podcast if we get to keep going on. Thank you so much, Sam. All right.
Oh, thank you.
So, what brings us here today?
Wicked City.
Wicked City. So, we are...
Very excited.
The ongoing rape of Makie.
We're
City.
We're going to get into a deep discussion on Wicked City. So, just going to say right off the bat that there's going to be a lot of spoilers, a lot of discussion topic about it. And if you have not gotten the chance to check it out, why don't you go ahead and check our... we have where you can get it listed on our website, or at least our blog, where we have it at our Amazon link, and I believe Right Stuff should have it too. So go ahead and check it out there if you want to get in on the discussion afterwards, or even check the show. So, guys,
Or
ready?
get it completely spoiled and buy it anyway.
Yep. You'll be
That
like,
works as well.
after we talk about it, like, yeah, I want to go watch it.
Like, why, yes, I am into that. Fucking
We're pretty much over the
queers.
threshold of spoiler
Yeah.
limitations.
So is everyone ready?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Wicked City, 1987 anime, not the actual TV series of the same name that happened, like last year, 2 years ago? I don't know.
No one
Something like
cares.
that.
Something like that.
Not anime.
Yeah, not anime. We're gonna go with the My Anime List synopsis. There is Earth, our familiar world, and then there is the Black World, a parallel dimension that few people are aware of. Centuries of pact between the two worlds has been observed to maintain peace, and terms must be negotiated and renewed soon to continue relative harmony. This time around, there is a militant faction that will stop at nothing to prevent the signing of a new treaty for interdimensional peace. Two agents of the elite organization known as the Black Guards, defenders of the balance between the two worlds, are charged with ensuring the success of the treaty. So this was done by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, director of Ninja Scroll.
And didn't he also do...
Yes,
I know
he did.
the Bloodlust.
I believe D might have been his next film, or like, maybe it was the next
Yes.
one after this one.
Yes, it was.
Okay, or at least fairly soon, or maybe after Ninja Scroll was. I don't know.
Ninja Scroll was after...
After D, okay. And then we have history. Eve,
Yes.
why don't you go ahead and tell us what some of the main characters and voice cast are?
Okay. So first we have that Taki guy.
Fucking hard boiled at
The
25.
buffest 25-year-old.
The most
Okay.
Filipino-looking Japanese man. He looks Okinawan as fuck. I was like, what southern island did you arrive from, young sir? Because you are literally like brown. He was definitely a product of the 90s.
Oof.
We watched, yeah.
You watch many a thing.
Well, I also enjoyed that everybody who was not female, as they fell, if they were male, the chances are, if they were falling away from something, they were completely naked, and they were falling with like one knee magically up to cover their shame.
Because no one needs to see that.
No.
Nobody got time for that. But we do have time for vagina dentata.
Spoilers? No, it's already spoilers.
Spoilers.
So, Taki Renzaburo.
He's voiced by Yara Yusaku. He hasn't done too many things. It's mostly a lot of vintage stuff that we'll probably get to. He's in Bao, Chibi Maruko-chan, and the great narrator of Legend of Galactic Heroes.
Nice.
That's super nice, actually.
And he's in both the Vampire Hunter D movies, so...
Who is he? Is he D?
He's Greco and then Borgoff.
Oh,
I'm unfamiliar.
huh.
I don't
Yeah.
remember who those are.
Yeah, they're side characters.
Okay.
Yes, but he's also Dr. Washizuka in Penguin Drum, so that's pretty much the only thing that's
God.
most recent.
Wow.
And of course, most of this,
He's graduated to old man voice.
yeah, yep, pretty much. There's a lot of people did that. And, most of this cast, it's like a reunion for Saint Seiya, Bao, and Legend of Galactic Heroes.
Nice.
There weren't that many
like
people in
early
the biz
90s.
back then.
Yeah, this is like the pre-Golden Age.
Yeah.
Who else is there, Eve? Who else have we got in the cast?
And then we have Makie, who's done by Fujita Toshiko, who has a pretty impressive list. It's done 3x3 Eyes, Blackjack, and her most recent is Chihaya Furu as the club advisor.
Okay.
And what was surprising for me to find out was she's Hilda in Alistar.
Oh. All right.
Didn't realize that either. All right, any other noteworthy characters?
I got Jomi's mom in Towards the Terra.
No, I meant of
Oh,
of Wicked City.
oh, okay, I'm gonna definitely say this wrong. The Giuseppe Maillart.
Miar. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
little old man.
Old man. Dude.
Just-
Doc
Yeah.
1, part 1.
He's done by Nagai Ichiro, the late Nagai. He's mostly the old guy, of course. He's done a whole bunch of random.
Tell me he was Doc 1 also. Was he Doc 1 as well? He
No,
wasn't?
Doc Wan is someone else in this show or in this
Nah.
OVA.
Yeah.
Fucking old man.
No, it makes sense who it is.
My kimono.
It makes sense who it is. Actually, we went. Yeah, what is Ichiro Nagai been in? A couple things.
He's a lot of random old dude voices in the Gundam series. He's narrated for the Gundam movies, the original ones. And he is Hapusai in Ronald.
You were
No
right.
wonder.
You're right. Dennis was like, that sounds like Haposai. It was like Haposai. It sure was. That's great. I love it.
Definitely. Let's see. We got Karin in Dragon Ball, Kai, and Z.
Oh, Karin. Okay, I was like, who's Karin? Oh, the the cat thing, if I recall.
Guy.
The big-
Trying to see. I believe his most latest role was Monsuke in Summer Wars.
Okay. Diana, for Doc Wan, that's actually played by the villain, apparently his name is Mr.
Mr.
Shadow. Mr. Shadow.
Wow.
Shit.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
I'm
And
amused that I don't even think they said his name in the whole show.
no,
they
that
didn't.
most of these people they didn't. Then they just are named like Spider Woman, Soap
Yeah.
Girl,
Yeah.
Mr. Shadow. And what his you brought up a tidbit on what Mr. Shadow has been
Right.
in.
Well, he's the late Awano Takeshi. I mean, to me, he's most important as Roy Campbell in Metal Gear series, but he's been in a ton of stuff. Ton of stuff.
One Piece fans would know him as Hawkeye's Mihawk.
Mihawk, yeah.
Oh, Mihawk.
So yeah. So this was my first time watching Wicked City. I'm sure everybody else here has actually seen it.
It's been more than 10 years for me, so
I don't
I've
have
like pretty much forgotten everything about it.
Yeah, I feel like Wicked City was kind of the you watched it one time and that was plenty. Particularly if you're between the ages of like 12 and 17. Because I know that was definitely one when I was in high school and middle school. Like my friends had a double VCR setup and they would just record some of the anime so we could like watch them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Here's a tape," and it had like 5 different things on it because it was on like Super Extended Play. So we got like Devil Hunter Yoko and like number 5, and then an episode or 2 of Sailor Moon, and then like Wicked City, and I was just like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Because I remember watching that and being like, I should lock the door to my room. Because I'm pretty sure if my family came in and saw me watching this, they would have questions.
Yeah, shit goes down super fast.
It goes down
in
super
this.
fast, and it just keeps going down.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just doesn't stop.
I think it was one of those where if you were seeing it in a video rental store, they would have that sticker on the front that's like absolutely not for children.
Yes, completely agree.
Which if you have paid attention so far, we've already talked about several reasons that it's absolutely not.
If I were watching this and like just hitting puberty or something at that point, I would have been scared to death of women, especially this spider vagina one. I was just like, nope, no.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in quite a while, but there's some things you just don't forget.
Yeah. I'm sure if I did see this being more impressionable, I would have had a huge fear of spiders after watching this one. I'm pretty sure. Thankfully, I don't. So that means if like Kate is like, "There's a spider, I got it. I can take care of it."
I like that everybody is totally just like, man, I would have been totally scared of spiders, and I'm just like, man, I would totally be afraid of every dude. It's like, hey, you gave me up and decided to take on a career instead of being my woman. So I'm gonna pin you down on the bed and rape you. Yeah. And then it was like, ha ha ha, she betrayed her own kind, so we're gonna chain her to the ceiling and rape her. Oh, she tried to save all of you and in the process sacrificed herself. So we chained her up and raped her.
This is an OVA. I had to read that up, that it wasn't actually like a theatrical thing.
It sure wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, this thing was not kind to women at all.
It wasn't kind specifically to her.
Specifically to Makie. Who...
Much like Kagero got the shit treatment.
In the entire thing, I felt like she was, of the two protagonists, the most competent one there. Yeah. Like, she had skills, she had an okay enough backstory. I cared more about her backstory than Taki's, that's for sure.
I didn't give a shit about him. Yeah, I was just like, what are you doing here? Who let you out of the Secret Service?
It's kind of like Men in Black, almost. They're like, if Men in Black had an alliance with getting more aliens in the service, that's what Makie would be. She'd be like demon Men in Black, women in black, whatever.
Lady in Black.
But my God, I could not believe the things that they did in 1987.
Yeah. It
totally
was
different world.
It was particularly aggressive on the mouth fucking.
We talked about this a little bit earlier on before the podcast, but I mean, this is a time when you had stuff like, Legend of the Overfiend, and you had La Blue Girl and stuff. So it was not that any of it was great or was wonderful art, but it was kind of common at the time.
Well, it's also been a case. A lot of people are more familiar with this now, but I know like Japanese animation became very synonymous with tentacle porn. And one of the reasons why they had tentacle porn was because you're not allowed to draw male genitalia or female genitalia in Japan. There's like pornography rights or pornography laws that prevent you from doing that. Like that's why they have the superfluous black censor bars in a lot of porn. That's why they do a lot of pixelization and things like that. So one of the ways to get around it that artists and illustrators for anime and stuff would do was they would draw tentacles because they're phallic, but they're not a penis. So yeah, you got a lot of that. Funny
enough, you really didn't. This one didn't have a lot of that. It just had one particular textbook exact like classic example of it.
No, it had a bunch of tentacles. Like it had a whole tentacle section, and it had like tentacles that were like going after people that were definitely tentacles with mouths on them. But she definitely got like mouth plunged a bunch, and you didn't see the rest of what was going on. And that being said, like she also definitely was like face fucking a dude and being attacked, and I mean, the woman must be able to really compartmentalize because by the end of it, she was like, yes, Taki, let's be in love forever. And I'm just like, wow, you are a damaged person and very resilient.
Yeah.
That is true. Like, thinking about it as well, in that period in that time frame when this was made, I don't think this would get made today.
No.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
When the hellstorm become of this earth, if that were to happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not even sure.
I feel like Kawajiri is sort of the Frank Miller of anime. Like, literally, like And then the incredibly competent, tried and true ninja girl charges forward and horse, you know, or like, and then, you know, such and such person goes and tries to get shit done, but she totally gets gang raped. Like, yeah. You know, I mean, he does come up with a lot of these really interesting female characters, but a lot of the main ones particularly like spend a decent amount of time just getting railed.
They deal with some shit for real.
Always, like, yeah, they are constantly dealing with either some mind fuck or some really shittiness or whatever. And I mean, I guess, like, it's nice that in the sense of, I guess with, like, I know Makie and then with Kagero, at the end of it all, like, Taki still wants to be with Makie, which is great because he's not looking at her like she's sullied or soiled or anything. He's looking at her like a survivor, like somebody that he, you know, respects and cherishes, which is really good. He's like, I didn't have any, like, they make it very obvious that he didn't have anything that was worth fighting for or worth protecting. And that was why he was kind of very nonchalant about his job.
Yeah.
And they do very much establish at the end of it that he cares about her and she has filled that void for him in his life. And I feel like you get a lot of that with Jubei and Kagero as well, where, like, even though Kagero kind of goes through a bunch of shit, Jubei doesn't, like, he doesn't want to string her along because it's a dangerous situation that he's in, but then she's like, oh no, I'm pretty competent. And he's like, oh, okay. And then at the end of it, like, he still values her as an ally and as a woman.
Yeah.
And, you know, doesn't ever go like, yeah, you totally got, you know, felt up by the rock dude and then fingered by that ninja and, you know, shit was really bad for you.
So at this point, you're talking about another movie by the same director then?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm drawing the comparison.
Which is Ninja Scroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Shut up.
So
that's my husband, by the way. I'm married to him.
We also saw this brief interview that the director gave. That was available.
Yeah, that was like the only bonus feature of merit on the DVD that we were watching, which I forgot to mention was put out by Urban Vision at the time. Which was, I believe, they produced it and Manga Entertainment released it.
No, Streamline originally released it. It was originally Streamline Pictures.
Okay.
Anyway, so like the what he brought up during it is when they were first making it, he was told, "Oh, this is going to be 30-minute OVA."
Yeah,
and then they came back.
The airport scene, right?
Yeah,
which that starts off with a bang, like right away. It's just like action.
And that's some really great animation too.
And then they came back and told him, "No, actually, we're going to make this an 85-minute thing." So
enjoy.
And he did it, and you totally get the sense that there were definite scenes that were put in after the fact, and it's like, "Oh, this is going to be filler. What can we do?" Well, I guess we'll take this character who we've established is very competent, and she's going to get beaten in a battle and raped for no reason. And that's going to stretch out another 10 minutes of runtime. So.
Oh, and we're also going to have a trip to the soap land.
Yeah, so there's some discontinuity there, which is probably a result of the production process.
Yeah, just pretty much having to wing it.
They sprung that on them about halfway through with no additional staff and no additional time.
Yeah.
Just, by the way, stretch this from 30 to 80.
Right.
Ugh. That must be horrible. After watching Shirobako, it's just like, that is some bullshit to pull on an animation studio.
Yeah, so actually it's quite impressive that it's as coherent as it is. I mean, it's not completely, linear, but it still makes sense when you watch it.
They did some great things, too, with the production, with what they were able to do as well. The thing that stood out to me the most was with how dark the setting and the actual visuals were. Everything was still... able to be seen pretty well. It reminded me of like Batman the Animated Series in a way.
Yeah, they use a lot of negative space.
Yeah, and
which saves money.
The things that were super dark and covered in shadow, there was a lot of like darker blues instead of blacks to help pop the characters out and distinguish them from just like backgrounds.
Yeah,
there's a lot of consistency to the fights that you don't really see these days. I guess you watch a lot of stuff now, and it's very much flashes of animation, flashes of attacks, and no real like cohesion as to what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
They definitely you can see the development of the director's like style too, which is really nice. And it's nice to also see like a lot of the trademark stuff, like he uses a lot of flash and strobe and really like tight, close cuts. Or he'll like layer stuff or something. Like the characters are talking to each other, and then like in the background you're seeing what's going on somewhere off, that's off screen, or that would be like out of where they are. It's like, for what it is, I don't feel like it's as visually impactful as some of his other work, but it definitely is really well stylized.
Yeah, especially for the time.
Yeah. And so is the thing he did before that, the Running Man one that he did, or not Running Man, it was a short film that he did for, I want to say Neo Tokyo. That set a lot of the tone, I think. It was also very dark and very like future Japan.
Anyone else have anything they want to say about production stuff? Or move on to other topics about Wicked City?
Sure.
Yeah,
because there's something that I want to make mention, but I don't want to just dominate the topic.
No, go for it.
Go ahead.
One of the things that stood out to me too was sound. Sound in this OVA I thought was excellent, with the sound effects that they had and the music. Like both of those things, I thought like for something that was made that long ago, I still feel sound wise holds up really well to a lot of the I'm hearing a lot of token sound effects being reused by other studios. It doesn't help that I watch a lot of stuff done by Toei, which recycles all its Dragon Ball sound effects for other shows. With like One Piece and World Trigger.
I don't know, man. It was pretty jarring to have the very English song in the middle.
Okay.
Well, the music is something else.
That is an exception. That rando insert song where after they got fired or whatever, and they just sort of hold the camera or the viewpoint at just glancing at each other as they sort of catch looks back and just miss looks back and forth at each other, and showing that having that
Hey, we
English
stole
song
some
in the
clothes together. It was great.
But like the sound effects for the fights were great. The monster stuff was that stuck with me. Though some of the pulsating monster sounds were very, very gross.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which also means it was well done.
yeah, it means well done. The woman whose upper torso was a vagina was especially disturbing.
Oh, that was real gross.
Yeah, just like whoa. Speaking of sounds, if we can hush for a little bit, we can hear Diana and Sam's dog snoring, I believe.
And if you listen really closely, you can hear the sound of a new bottle of wine being opened.
Oh, you might have to point that away from the microphone if you want to use the electric bottle opener.
My electric bottle opener was a gift from Kate and Dennis.
It is very helpful.
It's very well used.
And used often.
Yeah, a lot of this, I don't have any specific examples, but it seems like when I think of certain aspects of old school anime, Wicked City comes up a lot. I know the character design stuff's been seen before, but this is kind of one of the first memorable examples of like the long angular faces on a lot of the women, and kind of the kind of eye structure, I guess, or bone structure like that.
It's Miura.
But yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't used to seeing the character designs in something like this that long ago, because I think in terms of older style anime pre like 90s, I was always thinking of like the more rounder faces or the bigger eyes, similar to
What do you think, Akira or something?
yeah, a little bit of Akira, a little bit of
Mikimoto?
like not Yamato, like Starblaze, yeah. Starblaze was
Matsumoto?
Thank you.
Leiji Matsumoto?
Yes. His name was escaping. I was like,
Yeah,
no.
that's a lot more exaggerated. I would feel like the Miura style of art, it kind of falls between like Mikimoto and Matsumoto, in the sense of it's a very like it's ideal Japanese woman for his women. I feel like a lot of them fall in that.
That's true.
And then the men just go all over the place. Like the men, some of them look like, 8 Man After, or they look like Fist of the North Star, or they look like
Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
But he kind of runs the gamut with that. But then he also almost always has like a old dude. There's always an old dude who
speaks really well like this all the time.
His osteoporosis is taking the best of him. And I mean, Miura's like, I feel like he did the, well, I mean, I know he did the character designs for like Vampire Hunter D and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust and Ninja Scroll, so he's worked with the director for this Kawajiri a lot.
Yeah, it was really done really well. Anyone have any issues with the plot besides what we talked about, how it kind of like skipped all over the place?
It was about as coherent as 80s anime.
It's true. Like, the plot did, for what he had to work with, it did make sense enough to me.
Yeah. I
think the only thing that was kind of like weird bullshit thing to me was like, oh, she's pregnant super fast. After getting it on with all the other demon guys.
That could have been an aspect of being from the dark world as well.
It might have. Well, the mutation thing that they talked about with how they're compatible, so to speak. I think that's the like. Oh, all right. We'll just gloss over that super fast. Don't dwell on it too much. That's just how it works, folks. That's how it is. Let's do this. Just keep going.
It's hard to tell what was kind of initially there and what was just stretch.
I'm awful. I always get Miura from Berserk and Minowa. Minowa is the character designer. I'm so sorry, guys. I was like, I feel like something's wrong. Yeah,
that is
Yutaka
good.
Minowa is the character designer, and this has like been an enduring thing for me. This has been years of me getting these two motherfuckers mixed up.
It's fine that you corrected. Now we don't have to worry
I'm
about,
really
like,
sorry. Yeah,
don't have
his
to
work
worry
is
about-
recognized with Yoshiaki Kawajiri. Yeah, Ninja Scroll and Bloodlust, and they did Animatrix.
Like, we don't have to worry about someone on social media going, excuse me, no, you are incorrect.
I'm also incorrect. He also totally didn't work on Wicked City.
We don't have to publish
good.
errata for this.
Womp womp.
So, at least, yeah.
Episode, it'll be fine.
Whatever. Sorry, kids. I got my anime people mixed up.
There should be no kids listening to this.
Yeah, not about this
episode.
one. Jesus.
But yeah, it seemed like in general the planning on this was good. Like, it seemed like they knew what they were doing. Everything was coherent, and like, I keep using the words coherent and cohesive because they were. It was something where you could follow it from beginning to end. I didn't really feel lost at any point in time.
Yeah. Eve, is there anything in the notes that we missed from Kieran? Because I saw a lot of your notes and a lot of your fun comments that you made while watching.
Mostly commentary.
Mostly commentary stuff?
Yes, like going through, you can probably be like, "Oh yeah, I know this happened."
Yeah, there was that one point when after the insert song, they went into a tunnel and they got hit by spiderwebs. I'm like, that shit don't look like spiderwebs, guys.
It definitely doesn't. And then you see where it comes from, and you're like, "Oh,
No, definitely not spider.
That is definitely not spiderwebs, y'all.
Spider, but not spider.
she at least had the nice fashion sense to keep the thigh highs on."
She did.
Because she's wearing those in the very first scene, right? And then her legs get 3 times as long. Still the same thighs. That's convenient for demon clothing to be able to expand with how your legs are going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real tribute to Japanese technology, knowing that if it really came down to it, and we did end up in a Don Quixote or like in a Japanese like goods store, we could buy elongating thigh highs,
For all of your demon transformation needs.
basically. Yeah, I mean, what was really impressive was how she managed to keep like her panties on and still maintain like a vagina that turned into a mouth and spat webbing. She's just hanging from her crotch at one time, and I was just like, nope, I am not okay with that.
Not just one time. She does a lot of Kegel exercises. Guys.
She's just like, hey guys, what's going on here?
Multifunctional.
It's weird to consider something like that iconic, but it is kind of what I remember from Wicked City.
That part's true. I mean, I'm staring at it right now. The whole like vinyl pressed Wicked City limited edition record that you have.
Yeah, which was a Christmas present for my dear husband because he knows me.
Oh, good.
Tis the season.
Because he knows.
Well, that thing's out of print now and hard to find. So, like,
Yeah, with the Devilman too.
I mean, looking at the record, and it's the Spider Woman on there.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Well, along those lines, like there's
Spider-Woman
3 or 4
Kodachi.
Jesus Christ.
There's like 3 or 4 times throughout the course of the OVA where they talk about women from the demon world, and then another character, as soon as they hear it, is like, "Oh, well, sex with them is amazing." That's just like the thing they mention at all times.
I remember they had a team of very, very overworked animators there, so the demon world could have just been outside. Any women at all would have been fantastic at that point. With the
Oh, you mean
schedule they
downtown
had.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I enjoyed when in the little like the interview he's talking about going into like the soapland areas and everything and like taking pictures and having all the barkers and the girls like be like, "Hey, don't you want to come inside and get a massage?" And he was like, "Yeah, we do, but we're also in the middle of production. So after we're done, we're gonna get this film developed, and then we're gonna draw for 1,000 hours."
And we don't have the budget for that.
Yeah, also we have no money. We can't actually afford
We
that.
can't afford that.
Wouldn't it have been great? And he's sitting there with his
They would have done it 100% if they had the money for it.
God.
yeah,
I wonder
for
if that's
sure.
budgeted now. Hey, we're gonna send
research
you guys
purposes.
on a search mission. Like, can you imagine like a Miyazaki film? Like, Studio Ghibli is like, okay, we're gonna send you off to the middle of a beautiful soapland. You should also check out what happens inside.
Oh,
Whereas
okay.
like these guys, instead of going inside, they just looked inside a bathroom. They were like, just fuck it, put him in a bathroom. It's fine. No one's gonna give a shit what's going on in the background. You got titties with red hair.
And what amuses me is that the soap girl is voiced by Holly Cujo from the original OVA Hojo Part 3.
oh my God.
That's adorable.
God.
Oh my God.
And she's also in The Blue Girl.
Of course she is.
Why not?
Well, of course.
Christ.
But let's not forget about The Blue Girl.
Lest we forget, much like chlamydia.
So, I don't know if anyone else here has seen. I think Sam, you made mention that you have. Has anyone actually checked out the actual dub work for Wicked City?
Oh yeah, that was the one I watched first.
Oh,
That's what I
nice.
grew up on. That's what I kind of, most of these
Yeah.
things I watched them dubbed originally.
Yeah, after watching
Well-
it sub the first time, I decided to also check out the dub part 2, and I liked it.
Well, it was also it's Streamline. You know, Streamline did a lot of classic dubs. They did the Akira that most people recognize. And,
Okay.
original dub for Naushka, Warriors of the Wind. I mean, a lot of stuff out there that people like gravitate
with.
toward.
And more familiar stuff. Yeah, I still think it holds up pretty well. The actress, oh shoot, my screen just locked. The actress who played Makie in English, Toni Berry, I thought she portrayed it fairly accurately to how Makie was done in the actual Japanese way. Like, she's, kind of monotone, and there's not a lot of inflection there because it's, she's serious about her work and what she does, and, she doesn't really fall for Taki's playboy antic ways at the start. So it makes sense that she's, all serious and matter of fact that way.
Yeah, it was a really interesting dub.
It's one of those things where I like when watching something like, I'd watch it dubbed if I had no other option and were forced to watch Wicked City again, which after twice in less than a week, I think I'm okay with not watching Wicked City for a while. I might not revisit it in the foreseeable near future, at least.
Yeah, they also, I guess they've got, looking at it, they've got multiple dubs, and
Yeah.
the new edition that's coming out or has now come out.
Yeah, a new one came out from Discotech Media.
Yeah,
I
that
think
one has all three. It's got the original Japanese, and then it's got the Streamline dub and the UK dub.
Oh, nice.
That would be cool.
I don't know if it's done on Blu-ray. Wicked City. I think it might be.
found one, no.
I think it might be
No,
DVD
it's
only.
DVD
still.
only.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, since this was done as an OVA, I don't know if there is an HD version out there. You know,
not that I know of. No.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the time, you kind of consider. I kind of put it the same as watching like classic Shaw Brothers films, where the dub is almost its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable in its own way.
It
So
is.
I have no problem watching that. I have no problem watching shows like Akira and stuff like that, or even Fist of the North Star. I mean, most of the classic lines from that are, of course, in English. People remember a lot of the kind of more quotable things. I mean, it makes sense to do it that way, but it seems like that's more natural to me, and it gets different as you progress to current shows.
Yeah. All right. I think we can come to, well, I think most of us can come to a conclusion now about this. So, just go around the room. Eve, would you recommend Wicked City to be watched if someone has never checked it out before?
Maybe let's come back to that. Let's let Ed go first.
Ed. Ed, would you recommend Wicked City be watched by somebody who's never checked it out before?
Well, I think you have to kind of know what you're getting when you go into it.
Mm-hmm.
So would I recommend it to, somebody who has not watched much anime before? Probably not, because it probably would scare them away from the entire genre. But somebody who has more of an appreciation for that, or somebody who I know likes that kind of weird, grotesque / sexy stuff, people who are into H.R. Geiger stuff, or some of that, that kind of vein where they like dark stuff, violence, sex, but done not completely gratuitously, although it's certainly partially gratuitously.
There's some gratuitous stuff.
But as part of a bigger piece of work, then I think it's one of the, again, being one of the earlier examples of something that came out here as an example of what anime is, then
Okay.
I think they should.
Diana.
Sorry, Bob.
Wesley.
Yeah, I agree with Ed. I think if you enjoy that kind of work, the darker, more like urban Blade Runner esque kind of thing, and especially if you enjoy like Japanese stylized monsters, which I'm definitely a fan of that kind of thing, and just interesting like animation styles that really push the limit, and especially now knowing what was going on with the production team. I would say if you are a fan of anime and you're a fan of the director, or you're a fan of like Akira or Otomo, the original writer of Akira and director, then I would say it's definitely something to watch. But would I recommend it to anybody under the age of 15? No. Absolutely not. And I say this as someone who watched it at like 13 years old. And also just I wouldn't say go into it blindly necessarily, just because like as a woman watching it now, it made me more uncomfortable now than it did back in the day. Because it is very exploitive.
Understandable.
And at the same time, like it is also a product of that time period. It's like, would a movie like Die Hard get made nowadays? Absolutely not, as you can tell by the fact that they've tried to make like 2 Die Hard movies recently, and they both were kind of like, why bother?
Yeah.
So, I think as a product of its time, it's definitely worth watching. I wouldn't say like go search it out because it's pivotal anime, but it's definitely like a good pillar in the anime community.
Nice. Sam, how about you?
I think as a recommendation, it could be considered important, but if it's someone that hasn't seen it yet, you kind of want to gauge what they do and don't enjoy out of what they've seen before. Right. So if they've gone through something like Vampire Hunter D, if they have gone through Akira and a couple other things, and they seem to have an interest for that kind of stuff, you can show them a bit more of like that stuff in that vein, and watch this with as more of a historical fact-finding mission and not as a, hey, this is great entertainment, because it is pretty disturbing. It's not really great entertainment. But if you like anime, you like stylized So if you're into a bit of ultra violence and stuff like that, it's got a lot of that in there, and it shows a lot of how things were done back then.
Nice.
Eve?
Let's hope we're not
Yes.
like a body. Eve, what would you be able to recommend it to somebody?
As a connoisseur, then definitely. It's also not for everyone, because some newer kids, even if they're coming of age within the rating of this movie, they might find this a bit boring. But if you're into seeing everything that's out there, then this would be a good one. Just, be aware of what you're getting into.
Okay, so this is for the most part, it's going to be like yes with an asterisk, because
Yeah.
I think I could speak for Kate, where she'd be like, no, because Kate does not find like Ninja Scroll to be all that great.
Even if
to-
she's wrong.
Well, yeah, it's not necessarily an age thing or maturity thing. It really is a taste thing.
Yeah.
It just might not be, even to a lot of adults I know, it would not be to their taste to even bother
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
To me, this I would recommend this with the asterisk as well, depending on what your taste would be. Like, I feel like if you can get into some of the darker dramas that do have a little bit of gore and sex and things that are a bit random, like the cross section that could be Walking Dead and Game of Thrones fans might appreciate something like this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I feel like if you have a slightly mature taste and want to try something that's different or appreciate something that back then was, I feel like kind of important at least, and for sure would not be made today. We might not even be talking about this thing if it was made today.
No.
There could be some benefit to actually checking the show out.
Yeah, if you know someone that really enjoyed Ninja Scroll and really enjoyed the show Basilisk, then this is another example of like a team of beings with different powers and kind of unique powers and how they interact in interesting ways. And in that way, it's another example of what people might really get into.
Yeah, and I did not know what to expect when I first watched it, and I came up with a pretty good appreciation for it. So I think that'll wrap it up for our Wicked City discussion. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you all in the room, and for Eve over the webs for joining us too.
What do
So,
we have coming up next?
next time we are going to delve into, I don't know if it premiered around the same time, but a Toonami classic, so to speak, Blue Submarine number 6, or Blue Sub 6 for short.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and watch that. I think it's just like, 4 episodes?
4 episodes, early CG.
Super early.
Gonzo. Was it Gonzo's first?
Yeah. I might break the supposed rule for our podcast, and instead of doing one disc, because it's only 4 episodes, we might just watch and review the whole thing. Instead of
Oh, yeah,
split
that
up
first
into 2
episode
discs.
really isn't a good indicator, in my opinion, of the whole thing. And
Yeah. So we
I
might
really
watch
like all of it.
We might watch the entire thing and just,
I'll
break
get
the
out
rules
my real action heroes dolls.
up. Nice. Nice.
I am a big fan of the character designer, whose name I actually do know.
Let's go around the room. Eve, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter as EVE_IL, and then I'm on Facebook as EVEIL.
Ed.
I still have the Twitter handle. It's way too long to spell. Iben no Kuinashi. You can probably find it in our web presence. I'm gonna change it one of these days.
Okay,
I swear.
web presence listed out, and when episodes get posted, they definitely have your name on it. Diana, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as @Binksy, BINKXY. And you can follow me on Facebook for my cosplay exploits as Vegeta Balls Cosplay. B as in boy, EJITABALLZ Cosplay.
So nothing like you would actually expect to spell it.
Yeah, Vegeta Balls. It's a very intuitive name, okay? Like a lot of people know it now, I guess. Listen, the guy that dubs Dragon Ball was really excited about saying it a couple times during Anime Expo. So.
Awesome.
Sam, can people find you on Twitter somewhere? or
yeah,
Facebook
I'm
or
hiding
anything?
on Twitter. I'm there as at S5, ESSFIVE.
Great.
And I
Nice.
guess find me there.
You can find Kate at Taiko-chan. pretty sure Twitter doesn't care what's capitalized or not in terms of names. And you can find me at Itchnob, and we have cosplay stuff to do as well on Facebook at skcosplay.com. So for our Vintage Anime Club podcast stuff, you can go to Libsyn, where we have our blog, and the podcast itself is hosted at long website name, which you just search Libsyn Vintage Anime Club. We also have a Facebook page and a Twitter page, facebook.com/Vintage Anime Club, and we are at Vintage Anime Pod, because club didn't fit. We had to go with 3 letters instead of 4.
That's all right.
Blech. But we're also on iTunes and Stitcher, so you can download us there. And we'll also see if I can put us at other places. Don't forget, if you want to help support the show, go ahead and click on that Amazon link and purchase Wicked City if it caught your fancy, and help us out. So, until next time, where we will be watching Blue Submarine number 6, thank you for joining us. Thank you for here for listening and participating as well. Kampai!
So hold me please in the shadow.
Tonight's wines have both been brought to us by Ed. They are aptly named and chosen for their names.
There's a theme here. There's a theme.
There's a theme. Tonight we have Ravage, Cabernet Sauvignon from California, 2014, with absolutely no notes written about it at all besides dark, rich, audacious, much like our movie.
Ravage. That's all you need.
And our tan protagonist.
And protagonist. Our other wine tonight is the Menage a Trois Merlot. Rude. Made from grapes sourced from a trio of top California growing regions. There's a lot of growing regions in this show. Our Merlot reminds you of what it's like to fall in love with a woman from the other side.
Oh,
Rich, juicy plums, blackberries, and ripe black cherries flirt with smoky spices and sweet vanilla. And they kiss in a wanton display of deliciousness.
Oh, boy.
And then they get pregnant, and everybody finds a reason to live.
There are many wanton displays.
There's a lot of wanton displays of deliciousness in this movie. Anyhow, Menage a Trois, Merlot, California, 2014. Ravage, Cabernet Sauvignon, also California, 2014. Thank you, Ed.
nice choices.
Get crunk.